What is up, everybody? It's your boy Shazwiyt and welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me yet again, and thank you so much for your continued support. If you're new to this channel and you're clicking on me for the very first time, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and also turn on that post notification button so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. With that being said, let's get straight into today's content. Let's go. Okay. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing alright. I had a good day, but I didn't necessarily have a good day physically. I was coughing and sneezing quite a bit at a few different points, and then I was feeling pain on the right side of my face. Had to take an Advil, but I feel really good and rested. So if my eyes look red, or if I do look tired, whatever, it's because I just came from taking a 2-hour nap as well. Afternoon naps are life. So good. I highly recommend them, but also at the same time, I don't recommend that you take them for too long. I would say 2 to 3 hours max, but honestly, 2 hours is the best time. I think that's a really fair time for an afternoon nap. But I've got some work to do, so I can't take too many of those. Now, I'm going to start today's video with another video. I hope you enjoy it. This is going to set the tone for today's video.
As you guys know, I have lost... If I'm weird at this table this week, it's gonna be the year of my niece's passing.
I know.
So I just wanted to put that out there. It was a hard morning. Actually, it's been a rough 2 days.
I know.
But anyways, what I was gonna say is I've lost 2 very close people in my life very, very quickly in a short amount of time. And what I've learned from that situation is that life is short, and don't take for granted life. And just because you're young, just because you're in great health, it doesn't mean, like, you don't know when God is gonna take you.
Yeah.
So what I've learned is to really be present,
Yes.
to really see my friends, my family, and life. Like, life is precious. Don't let your concerns, your worries kind of like suck that out of you. We are alive for a reason. If you're here today, it's because you have a purpose. So make sure you focus on that. And then also, I've learned that the art of letting go things or people that do not serve you, do not serve you in a positive way. Why? Because life is short. Don't hold on to that crap. Let it go. Kaka.
So the video that you just watched had Tamara Moria Housley, most famously known as the actress on shows like Twitches, Sister Sister, and she's appeared in reality shows with her twin sister Tia Mowry. So basically, she was talking about loss and how she's experienced the loss of her maternal grandmother as well as her niece, who is her husband's brother's child, and all of the stuff that has happened, in their life. And we've all experienced loss and all that. But that's not the theme of today's video. As you can tell, today's video is going to be a story time. I love doing story times. I love telling you guys stories about different aspects of my life. I don't necessarily want to reveal the names of like all the people or certain things, Certain things should be, left private. And this just pretty much goes for everybody. Everybody has their own sort of things they prefer to keep to themselves that you won't necessarily want to share with everyone. And I'll do that. And it's not because I don't want to keep you guys in the loop, but it's also just out of respect for the other people because they have a right to their own privacy. So it wouldn't be like really cool to just bring the names out and expose them. So yeah. So today's story time is not clickbait, by the way. Just a disclaimer, it is not clickbait. Not clickbait. Period. This is a true story, a very true story. And hopefully by me telling the story, not only will you get to know, I guess, something interesting about me, but also just about, I don't know. I guess hopefully this will be a relatable story for some people who may have been through the same thing. Anyway, without further ado, let's get straight into the story, which is not a very long one, but it's a pretty interesting one. Air quotes again. So, this happened 19 years ago, Yeah, so it happened a long time ago. This sort of happened when I was 2 years old, in the year 2000. So, like, literally, this happened nearly 2 decades ago. Wow, it's crazy to say that. I am old. Yeah, this happened 19 years ago in the year 2000. I was 2 years old. And now I know normally at that age you don't remember much, but my two earliest memories that I can remember are when I was two. Beyond that, I don't remember anything, obviously, but when I was two, I remember the story that I'm about to tell you what happened. And then I remember when I was in my mom's bedroom, and I remember I was playing with her, and I was jumping from like the bed to like the side drawers, and then the bed again, and then she was like, oh yeah, yeah, and then I like jumped onto her and she spun me around. For some reason, I don't know why my brain decided to snatch onto that memory and keep it all these years. I don't know, I guess it's because I was just so happy that day, but generally kids are just always happy. I don't know. Anyway, so this story starts out, I was 2 years old in the year 2000. Not too sure when exactly this would have happened, the month, the day. Obviously, I wouldn't know all that stuff. I was so young. But I remember the visuals of what happened in the context of what was happening. Because I've talked to this with my brother, obviously, before, and I've talked to this about my parents. So what happened is that my brother, so it was me at the age of 2, my older brother, who is 3 years older than me, so he would have been 5 at this time. And then there was, so me and my older brother, who's 5. And then there was my cousin, who was only a year old. So a year younger than me, so he was a baby. I took him as a baby, still toddling, toddler, whatever. And then there was my other older brother, who is 12 years older than me, so he would have been 14 at the time. Then there was my uncle, who was driving the car. And he's the father of my 1-year-old cousin. And then there was my other cousin from my dad's side. So his dad and my dad are brothers, so he's my, first cousin. So that would have been us kids, so brothers, him. So it would have been 6 people. 6, guys in the car, or your babies, or whatever. 6 people. So my brother, who is 5 years old at this time, he was invited by one of his friends to his friend's birthday party. So it was great vibes. From what I distinctly remember was that it was at a really nice house and there were a lot of people and it was colorful. I remember colors of things. I remember seeing like just nice, really cut grass and just it looking nice and balloons and stuff. And there are a lot of people, and I'm guessing that my brother's friend said that it's cool, like if your family comes over, whatever, like that's totally fine. And yeah, I'm guessing that it was fun. This happened a while back, but good times. So we go to this party, which I'm guessing was at the other side of town, at a far away like neighborhood from us, because the drive back home seemed like it took a really long time. And Harare, like within the suburbs, they're not like that far away from each other, so I guess it must have been one of those farther neighborhoods. Anyway, so we're in the car, we were driving, and the car I remember we had was a Pajero, some of those Pajero Mitsubishi type cars. I'll display a picture of the car that we had, so that you could see what it was. One of those old like 90s, early 2000s, Pajero type like big cars. Anyway, so the ride is going along well and all that stuff. At the end, sitting in the car, it's nighttime, we're driving. I think we had made quite a few stops along the way. That's probably why we took so long to get home, because I do distinctly remember us stopping somewhere. I don't know what it was, whether it was a bar or something, I'm not sure. My uncle is an alcoholic, he drinks a lot, so I'm not surprised I would have stopped somewhere to get drinks, whether it was a supermarket or whether it was an actual bar, whatever. So, from what I then remember, we're driving, and then there was this, my uncle started to accelerate and drive. Like, he literally went off the rails and just started driving, uncontrollably and was going really fast over the speed limit, just pushing that speedometer as fast as he could. And the reason why, I realized this, a few years later, growing up as a kid, was the fact that there was a man who was chasing us, apparently. There was a man who was chasing us, who he saw in the background looked like he was chasing us. And so apparently this man who was running after us was actually trying to stop us. I think he was actually trying to get into our car to stop the car. I mean, he may have been someone trying to steal the car from us, but apparently he was someone else who had seen that my uncle was inebriated, was intoxicated from the alcohol, and so wanted to stop him from driving. Because obviously drunk driving is obviously wrong, no one should do it. My older brother was 14 at the time, hadn't started driving. And then my other cousin from my dad's side, he was older, he was old enough to drive. He would have been, how old would he have been? 1978, so... Math. He would have been like 22, around there, 21, 22, so like around my age right now. He could have driven, but I guess, he doesn't drive and stuff at the time, I don't know. Anyway, so, yeah, drunk driving, going really fast. And I remember, like, being the small kid that I was, and how when you're in your car, you're thrown, back and forth so easily due to the force of the car. It's like you're literally nothing, you know what I mean? It's like holding a jar with like pennies, and then you can just easily like shake them, and the pennies inside will do whatever the jar does what you do, because they're just so not irreplaceable, but they're like nothing, you know what I mean? That's how I felt as a kid. I felt like I was just being flung around in the car, and it was just going up and down and back and forth. And normally, like, that's fun to me, and as a kid it was even fun to me then. I loved like when the car went gitching up, and we would hit like parts of the road where they were going and uphill and downhill and all that stuff where you jump in your seat a little bit and come back down and whatever, that was fun. But somehow I knew that something was wrong. And I remember I was bawling. I was crying so much. I kept crying, and I wouldn't shut up. And what further emphasizes the fact that I was right about there being something wrong was that no one was trying to shut me up. No one was trying to comfort me necessarily. And I think it's because everyone else was just as terrified as I was, and they didn't necessarily cry, but they were terrified too. Otherwise, if there was nothing wrong and I just kept crying, I think one of my brothers or someone in the car would have been like, "Hey, keep quiet, blah blah blah," like stop crying. But yeah, clearly like something was wrong. So the car kept driving, and my uncle kept going, and couldn't really stop him and all that stuff. And eventually we got to this suburb called Greystone Park. And so in Greystone Park, there's a place where you drive, whereby it's like you have this little bridge, and under the bridge there's a stream that just goes on. And so where that bridge is and where the stream is, it's sort of close to like a blind spot, sort of, a turn in the road. And so we were driving towards that area, towards that bridge. And then next thing you know, we hit the bridge somehow. I don't know how my uncle did it, but at this point he's drunk, so anything can happen. We hit the bridge, and the car, flipped, and then it flipped into the stream. And we're upside down. Now, I don't necessarily remember being hurt or anything. Maybe it's because my seatbelt was fastened. I don't remember anyone else being like really injured or whatever. But what I do remember is that the car was indeed upside down. And we were in a stream, and the stream started to fill up with water. Eventually it was going to fill up with water. Because even though it is a stream, the water was still quite deep. And so the water was going to fill up anyway. And if we didn't open up that car or get out, we were going to drown. Now, I wasn't really panicking or anxious at this point. I'm just watching and seeing what's happening. I was quiet. I think I had stopped crying because the car had stopped moving, so I just stopped crying. And I just could not process or did not know what was happening. So what happened was that, and this is not because I necessarily remember it, but because my brother told me. My older brother, who's 14 at the time, he then is the first one to get out of the car, and how he did it was he had to literally break the window, and by breaking the window he injured his arm. But you don't care because all you want to do is survive and make sure that everyone else survives too. So I think it's also because the window was jammed, and it's hard to open a window when you're upside down and to like reach for the part that like rolls the window, you know what I mean? Because most cars back then, if not all, like didn't necessarily have the automatic button when the window goes down. It was more sort of more manual, you had to do it. And so yeah, he got out of the car, and I think he eventually like asked for help. And I remember, from what I remember, eventually everyone was taken out of the car, and we were all okay, by the way. We all survived, and we got away with, I guess, minor injuries or whatever. I don't remember getting any injury per se. I was just traumatized, you know, scared and stuff, but I was quiet the rest of the night. I didn't really like cry anymore. I guess I just wanted quiet and for the car to stop. And since that was okay and that happened, I was like, okay, it's cool. Although I may be about to die in this water, but you know, it's fine. As long as it's quiet, I'm good. I don't know. It's weird. This was a long time ago. So I remember, and don't at me for saying this, not that I care about race or whatever, but it's just something interesting to think about is, I remember there was this white dude who was the guy who pulled me out of the car, and he then carried me over and put me into his car. So at this point we were all separated. I was in this car sitting in there on my own. I remember I was sitting in this car and the light in this car was on. And I remember sitting in there, I didn't even know what was going through my mind at that point. All I remember was the fact that I peed my pants. I peed my pants. And I know some of you may be thinking, well, maybe it's because you're already wet. No, I legit peed my pants while sitting in the car. That is when I peed my pants. You know, I guess I really wanted to use the bathroom, and I guess also because I may have been scared shitless, that I decided, hey, let me just do it here. And also I'm 2, by the way, I'm 2, so that still happens, okay? I was potty trained, or whatever, maybe, I don't know. But I did pee my pants, and understandably. So eventually I remember being moved from this man's car, and I was taken to the ambulance. The ambulance eventually came, and I think there may have been a police or 2 came. You know, obviously whenever an accident occurs, you have to report it to the police as well. That's actually who you first reported to, I think, then the ambulance, between the 2. I remember we then all were put into the ambulance, you know, and we're all okay, and it was fine. You know, I was already over it at that point. And so I remember my parents coming, and my mom was so shooketh. And she was like crying, you know, as any mother would, because it's scary that you could have literally lost all of your children in just one car accident. And I'm not saying that it would have been better for one sibling to have died and then the others to survive, or you know, whatever combination. No, it's just really scary to not only lose someone you love, but for it to be all your children at once would have been insane. And my dad was there, and I could tell like he was really shocked too, and it was crazy for everybody. But obviously he didn't cry. I don't think I've ever seen him cry. He probably didn't even cry when he was born. I'm just kidding. No, he did. And so that's pretty much the end of the story. Yeah, we're fine ever since then. I remember that for a while, my mom banned my uncle from ever driving us again. She never trusted him to drive us anywhere. And that's probably what may have prompted my brother to start driving early, because he's been driving literally ever since I've known him. He probably started around that same year or a little bit after, when I was like 15, 16, something like that. So yeah, that was the story, and it was definitely a near-death experience, you know, when I think about it. But looking back, I'm very happy that we got through that, and it's just more about, you know, traffic, you know, road safety. Don't drunk drive. If you're drunk, stay where you are, or wait until you're okay, or have someone drive you, you know, that sort of thing. And I know I sound like a broken radio, whatever the saying is about repeating like the same thing in your head, like that someone says, but it's true, guys. Be safe when you drive, and also be cautious. don't only be safe on your side, but also take into account the other drivers on the road who also may be drunk or just bad drivers. There are plenty of situations where you have the right of way to go in whatever context, whether it's at an intersection or there's a stop sign or whatever. You will be going and you have every right to, but someone who just does not respect the law or someone crazy or whatever will just come through and hit you and you lose your life over nothing. So be careful, guys. Live your life, be happy, don't stress over the small things, and be the amazing, fearfully and wonderfully made human beings that you are. I love you, God loves you, or just be loved if you're atheist, whatever. Just love and be a decent human being. And I'm rambling. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope this was as interesting for you as it was for me, if not more, if not less. I don't know. And stay tuned for the very next video coming in 2 days. And with that being said, Shazwiyt gang, I am clear.